Welcome to Business Reporter's Future of the Supply Chain campaign. I'm Georgie Frost. Supply chain transparency has been coming increasingly under the spotlight in recent years. Ever more stringent health and safety regulations, new provisions on ethical labour, as well as a growing demand for sustainability, have made it urgent for businesses to reach that transparency. But it turns out that even large, resource-rich companies have found it difficult to properly audit their suppliers. So how can they do that? That's what I'm going to discuss with Anthony Hanley, Senior Vice President of Supply Chain Compliance at Alcumus, a market-leading provider in risk management. Anthony, welcome. When we talk about transparency and compliance in the supply chain, what do we mean exactly?
What we're really talking about is who's actually in the supply chain and lifting the carpet up on that supply chain to understand a wide range of topics so you can share that either with yourselves or with the wider world. So things like health and safety, things like sustainability practices, things like environmental practices or human rights practices. Believe it or not, most organisations, medium to large organisations, don't really understand who is in their supply chain fully. And as crazy as it sounds, there's a lack of data and there's too much data in some organisations as well. So when it comes to transparency and what levels of risk is in that supply chain and where are the gaps so we can do something about it.
Why are we talking about this more than, say, 10 years ago?
Yeah, so I can answer that with two main reasons. So the first reason would be the impact of COVID-19, the disruption that caused and the impact that had on supply chains of organisations. During COVID-19, most organisations didn't quite realise who was in their supply chain. But also, when there was failures in their supply chain, they were unable to find alternative coverage. They were unable to source and unable to find, which really impacted business continuity and also the resilience of their organisation. And then point number two, which is really important, is the wave of legislation coming down the line towards organisations. There's already a lot here today, but there's now more coming out of Europe and more globally. And that is set to increase, not go away. It's not going to become less, it's going to keep increasing. So all of that legislation and regulation is forcing organisations to respond and improve and create that transparency.
What challenges do businesses face here?
So the first one is competence. So organisations generally don't have the people in-house who have the right competence in order to assess their supply chain. They also don't have the resource or the size of teams in order to assess those supply chains at scale. So big organisations typically have thousands of suppliers. So organisations don't want big, large teams having to do a lot of admin, a lot of chasing around their supply chain in order to capture all the information they need. Hence, they're looking at more outsourced partners. And then data are the most obvious one. So organisations that we meet more often than not have lots of different data, but it's disparate data. It's in silos, some on spreadsheets, some in folders, some in people's heads, literally. And what's really challenging, they just don't have a single view or a single dashboard view of their supply chain to understand who is in it and where to start.
So lots of challenges, but what are the consequences of doing nothing?
So the consequences of doing nothing are totally unacceptable. So let's start with the most obvious one. Do nothing and there's an incident on site or a fatality on site, you are going to have a serious incident, your business will be closed, potentially facing fines and prosecution. From a reputational standpoint, if your organisation is seen to have any sort of unethical practices, you run the risk of reputational damage, which then has huge financial consequences to organisations. Think about investors and their need to either invest in organisations that can respond well and can demonstrate their compliance. At the same time, investors will de-invest from organisations that have these issues, whether it be serious incidents or reputational damage. And finally, if you think of organisations' ability to respond to third parties like the HSE or prosecutions, things like that, if you don't have the data and you don't have the systems, you don't have an auditable, defensible position or any firm ground to play off. So you are totally vulnerable as an organisation.
How does Alcumus SafeContractor help?
Our role here is to help organisations understand the compliance and the non-compliance in their supply chain from tier 1 right through to tier 2, 3, 4 and beyond, so the whole supply chain. And we do that across a wide range of different topic areas, including things like health and safety, environmental practices, quality practices, even things like modern slavery and human rights. So that's all about surfacing the risk and helping organisations understand where there's a lack of transparency and a lack of compliance, allowing them to tackle that and do something about it.
How exactly do you do that? Walk me through the process.
Yes, so if I was to walk into an organisation today, that process would look like a first meeting, exploratory meeting, discovery meeting, call it what you like, with the board, but with a wide range of different functions as well. This isn't a one job function approach. So procurement, to safety, to supply chain, to the board, to legal, to sustainability and ESG, CSR teams. It's an integrated approach. But what we would try to do is understand their supply chain in the first instance. So who is in your supply chain? Give us the data. More often than not, around 50 to 60% of organisations in that supply chain will already be part of Alcumus SafeContractor, which means we can immediately turn on the lights through our amazing portal, and that means that organisations can quickly see, well, who's at risk, where do we focus our time, how do we improve that transparency. With those who are not part of Alcumus SafeContractor, we'll then go on a journey of education, awareness, and making sure they're part of the process, because ultimately the organisation doesn't want to lose their supply chain. They want to keep their supply chain all the way through this process, albeit they just want to make them compliant. But those types of processes will include things like reach outs, engagements, education, but then we'll take them through an audit process. And the way that we audit supply chains is really simple. So we assess them based on the role they play. We assess them all the different categories of work that they do. And also we assess all the different activities that are related back to those categories. What I mean by that is things like, if you're an electrical contractor, we'll assess you for working at height, working in confined spaces and doing hot works. But once we've done that assessment, and every single supplier and contractor will walk through their assessment, we audit them. The people that are auditing them are health and safety qualified experts, NEBOSH qualified, been in the industry a long time, ex-industry themselves. So that means if you have a scaffolding contractor going through this audit process, the chances are they're being audited by somebody who understands that industry. Okay? So what we're able to do then by the end of that process is demonstrate all that compliance back to the organisation to say, here's what's going really well, but here's the bit you didn't see. Here's all the gaps, here's the blind spots, and they can now able to deploy resource into those areas. Usually, this takes around 12 weeks to do. Seems quite quick, but at the point from first meeting to the point of creating a compliant supply chain, as quick as 12 weeks. So as long as your organisation is committed to creating a compliant supply chain and improving that transparency, we're with you all the way.
Finally, can you give me your key takeaways from this conversation?
Yes, so point number one would be act now. So doing nothing is not an option. There is a wave of legislation coming at you. Now is the time to respond. Now is the time to partner and work with experts to solve this problem. So point number two is, there is upside here. It's not all bad news. There's opportunity for growth and savings. By working with experts like ourselves, you can improve operational efficiency. You can now redeploy people back into your business to focus on key areas, saving time, saving effort, saving money. And finally, organisations shouldn't just do this because they should, albeit there is huge financial consequence and a lot of regulation coming at them, but organisations should do it because it's the right thing to do.
Anthony Hanley of Alcumus SafeContractor.